First and foremost, as I've said, if I were in charge of Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano would not have survived Star Wars Rebels. Actually, she probably wouldn't have survived Star Wars The Clone Wars, but I'm willing to negotiate on that, so she probably wouldn't have survived Star Wars Rebels. And so actually what I would have done is three things. I would have chosen from three things. So first, maybe I would have just had Darth Maul kill Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars Rebels. Or maybe I would have had Darth Maul kill Ahsoka Tano in the Siege of Mandalore. Or maybe I would have had Darth Vader kill Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars Rebels Season 2, The Twilight of the Apprentice or something. Or I would have had Darth Vader capture Ahsoka Tano and then maybe Tarkin humiliates Ahsoka Tano and then eventually kills her. Or maybe I would have had Ahsoka survive the duel. Ahsoka Tano would have survived the duel with Darth Vader, and then eventually in Season 4 she would have fought Darth Vader again and then perished, or maybe perished at the hands of Darth Sidious or something. And secondly, for Ahsoka's banishment from the Jedi Order, I like the friendship that she had with Barriss Offee, but I've never really liked Barriss Offee too much. It's not that I dislike her, but she's just she didn't need to have such a major part. And I liked better when in Legends Barriss Offee died in Order 66, and then we never really see how Luminara unduly dealt with Barriss Offee's betrayal. So, come on. And secondly, I would have had Ahsoka have an interaction with Plo Koon one last time before the Siege of Mandalore. Yeah, so I would have probably done the Siege of Mandalore a lot differently. As for... But if I didn't, if I maybe if I didn't do the Siege of Mandalore with Ahsoka, I would have put a different Jedi in for the Siege of Mandalore. And here's my reasoning on that. With Ahsoka Tano, I actually preferred when she was just banished from the Jedi Order and just went off into obscurity. I didn't mind when she returned for Star Wars Rebels. I just minded that she survived Star Wars Rebels and is still alive after the Return of the Jedi. So that's what I minded. So with Ahsoka, when she left the Jedi Order, when she turned her back on Anakin at the Jedi Temple, that should have been the last time that she saw Anakin before he turned into Darth Vader. Instead, that was when she returned for the Siege of Mandalore and she was on a Jedi cruiser, basically ignoring Anakin and stuff. I like that too, but I just prefer that she just left the Jedi Order, got banished, and then had no interaction with the Jedi until Kanan Jarrus and Ezra and all that. So I would have just had her be banished from the Jedi Order, disappear, and then just come up with Star Wars Rebels, and I wouldn't have had her be in the Siege of Mandalore. So for the Siege of Mandalore, maybe I would have put in Coleman Kaj or Shakti or Oppo Rancisis. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool if it was Shakti and Oppo Rancisis fighting Darth Maul. And then Darth Maul and them the truth about the Sith, and then they're oh no, and then they have to flee and everyone has to escape or something. I would have had that. And I would have also had Prime Minister Almec survive and help out with the Shadow Collective and stuff. But I understand why Darth Maul was pretty much done with Prime Minister Almec and didn't need him anymore, so just got rid of him. Yeah, but for Ahsoka's... And maybe if I had the Siege of Mandalore thing going on, as I mentioned in a previous video, I would have had Kanan Jarrus, instead of him being some new character called Caleb Doom, I would have had Kanan Jarrus be one of the younglings from the Youngling arc with Ahsoka. I would have had that. And so one of those younglings I would have had Kanan be one of those younglings from the Youngling arc. And then maybe he would have been traveling with his Jedi Master to Mandalore to handle Darth Maul, and then maybe during the engagement, Order 66 breaks out, and then Jedi Master gets killed and Kanan escapes. And that would give Kanan a pre-existing relationship with Darth Maul. And maybe Kanan would dislike Darth Maul even more. And I would have had Darth Maul survive Star Wars Rebels, and I would have had Darth Maul appear in The Mandalorian and live beyond Return of the Jedi and even beyond the Rise of Skywalker and all that. But as for back to Ahsoka. I think that the Jedi Temple bombing arc, as well as Ahsoka's banishment, I think those were handled pretty well. And while we're on that arc, Tarkin, I like Tarkin, but I would have had Evan Peel survive the Citadel. And I would have had Evan Peel survive. Maybe Evan Peel would have gone to the Siege of Mandalore then or something. I don't know. Yeah. I would have probably sent Shakti to the Siege of Mandalore instead, and then just had it be a little different. And then it would show like Shakti survival or 6 or something. And there are a few other things I would have done. So back to the Jedi Temple bombing and the Ahsoka banishment arc. Instead of Barriss Offee being the one who bombed the Jedi Temple and betrayed Ahsoka Tano and like framed her, I would have had it be one of the younglings from the youngling arc. So a different youngling. Maybe I would have used the Wookiee or the Kit Fisto species one, or the Adigalia species one, like Katuni, or maybe I would have had it be Katuni or the Ithorian. Yeah, I would have had it be one of the younglings from the youngling arc, because that would make it even darker and even more destructive, and like, oh, even the younglings know that the Jedi and the Republic are really corrupt and horrible, and like a youngling bombing the Jedi Temple, that would just be so dark and so like impactful and intense. So I would have done that. I would have had one of the younglings be the ones to bomb the temple, Jedi Temple. I would have had one of the younglings be the one who did that to the Jedi Temple. And yes, so yes, to recap, Ahsoka Tano would have been banished from the Jedi Order because she was betrayed and framed by one of the younglings from the youngling arc, and another one of the younglings from the youngling arc would be Kanan Jarrus, and then Shakti would have gone to the Siege of Mandalore, or Evan Peel or Upper Ramses or someone, and then obviously I would have had Shakti, Alpha Ramses, Evan Peel, and whoever survived. And then Ahsoka would reappear in Star Wars Rebels and eventually die in Star Wars Rebels at the hands of Darth Vader, but I would have had her meet up with Bo-Katan and Hondo Ohnaka and Saw Gerrera and everyone beforehand. I would have had her in the Saw arc, and like I would have had her everywhere in Star Wars Rebels before, snuffing her out completely.